See, I've been talking to the executive shareholder at TNA, Mick Foley. We had a very interesting conversation, Chris. And guess what? At Sacrifice, Daphne will be involved in the very first ever Knockout Monsters Ball.
That's my match.
Yes, it is.
And I remember the last conversation I had with her several months ago. And during the conversation I had with her, she was getting very emotional. And there were times when she was getting upset, going back on her career and reflecting on some parts of her career. I even remember she brought up something that she thought somebody else was responsible for or somebody else had written, and actually it was me. And she went on about it and she was upset about it. And I had to say to her, Daphne, that was me. And I had to explain to her, Daphne, this was my intention. And this is why I wrote that scene, because obviously at that moment, she didn't understand the writing behind the scene. So I was writing one thing, seeing it one way. She was seeing it another way. And I guess I was too busy that day to really explain it to her. So after all these years, I got to explain to her. I said, Daphne, that was me. And this is what I was looking for. But she was emotional. But she was not emotional to the point of I felt she was suicidal. I can tell you that thought, that feeling never, ever crossed my mind. Never. So I told Daphne, I said, flush this thing out. You're throwing a lot of ideas at me. Flush this thing out, lay it out, put it in some type of a outline. Send it to me when you have it, and then we'll discuss the show. And that was the last I spoke of her. And she didn't follow up on it. I never got an outline. And I never spoke to her again.
And thinking back, I was like, yeah, when I was in TNA, I was like, I definitely want Daphne to be part of what I'm doing, and she was a really valuable
time. I felt Stevie was really adamant and did not want me to do it, but Mick and Abyss were, Mick said, it'll be great. It'll be like a Hell in the Cell bump, and that kind of made me think, wow, maybe I should, this is an honor.
And she was a really valuable part of it. So thank you, Daphne, for being you.
And I truly believe, like, there's no history of early menopause in my family. There's no history of thyroid problems in my family. And I just think it's all the stupid bumps I took.
And then something I should have prepped to see if we want to talk about this, but you ended up getting injured at TNA Impact or whatever you want to call it. But later on, while working for Shine, you actually got to talk and make up with Mary Cates about this. There was, if you believe the internet rumors, there was heat. There was all this for the longest time. But then you got to work with Mary Kate, who injured you, and is a wrestling thing, and so
It's
there was...
actually it was I got my first one in October of 2009, and that one was the real bad one. That was in LA. That was the barbed wire and Mick Foley and Abyss, and my brain bounced. I had a brain bleed. Oof. They gave me an MRI. They're like, we're gonna watch you. We're gonna have to give you another one in the morning.
Right.
Luckily by the morning, but it was bad. So I was really out of it for a long time, and then it's unfortunate that I got that ended my career with the head injuries, but that's why I tell people, protect that head, man.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been there, done that, and knock on wood, hopefully no more. But do you still watch wrestling at all?
Oh, you froze for a second. Do I still watch what?
Do you still watch wrestling?
It's hard for me because it kind of triggers me. It makes me sad.
It's not my fault. I swore I wasn't gonna cry. I felt guilt for too long. I've hid for too long. I've had so many symptoms, and I've had so many doctors just tell me, nah, you're just overweight. You just need to diet and exercise. That it's just the answers. I did a thing earlier this year, like, if just one word, if you could just say one word, what do you need? And I said answers. The most important thing to remember is that CTE and head injuries and concussions, they can only really now be diagnosed after you are dead. So I don't want to do anything to hurt my brain. I want it to be studied. I want the future generations to know don't do stupid shit like me. I'm never gonna get better. I'm never gonna get stronger. Why? Why now? years. 7 years. And you and Leva and Riri and me. I don't have it in me anymore. You know how long I've been fighting this.